Okay, how did you get into this?
How did I get into this? Role reversal. Today is a class day for me, Tim, because we went out and we watched you guys move what I would call, well, it's the biggest move I've ever seen, other than what I've seen in TV.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, I've never seen anything quite like it, and through the Norman Emerson group, so we've been following this barge that he bought, and you were tasked with the job of moving the barge.
Unfortunately, yes.
And Kenny says to me, there's only one man in the country that could physically sort this and move this boat.
Yeah.
So then you turn up.
I think he meant somebody else.
But like, obviously we've the footage, we've seen how monstrous it looked, and we know the roads from Derry right down to Toom are not straightforward.
No.
This was a particularly hard one for you.
It was challenging, and probably much more challenging in the planning than it was on the actual day, if I'm honest. Now, what probably that means is we got the planning right because we had everything checked and double checked and triple checked. But between basically the Emerson group coming to us probably on 2 years now, where I went up to Ardbow and we had to sit down with them, had to crack with them, and they're talking about this boat, and we gave them some indications of how it would work, how things have changed since the last boat that they bought, which is probably about 20 odd years ago.
Aye, that's a good while now. Yeah. Well, it came down as one piece. Like.
It did, but to be fair, it was really small compared to this thing. I mean, it's a different beast altogether. And we were involved in parts of the planning of that. We did parts of that too, and we did other barges to the offshore. But we genuinely didn't believe that the issues that we ended up facing were there at the time.
Yeah.
You know, the main bone of contention was the A6, and then obviously the roadworks has been ongoing, and that's been.
Well, everybody knows that's a disaster. You can be as political as you want to be, as politically correct.
Let's just say it was a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, to be fair, we were doing surveys, and every time we did a survey, the road network had changed. So you thought you had one pit sorted, and then you went back, and the next thing was a bridge over it. Or they were coming off the old road, the new road, then the new road was open. We thought this is going to be a lot handier, we can take Dungiven out of it. So we went back to that, and then all of a sudden the new road was then closed, we're back in Dungiven. And to be fair to Emerson's, you know, they have put a lot of time, money and effort into it. We originally moved the barge from the lock shore in Lissahallie up to what we call the Brexit yard, which is that storage yard, back in July. Now we moved that on one piece because the road let us to do that, and it worked fine. We got it up the hill without any major drama. We did it one weekend, so we loaded it on the Saturday, had it up there on the Sunday and offloaded. We had 3 at the front and 1 at the back. We had 4 at it now.
But you had the 143 in the middle.
We had a 143 there.
I just have to add that in there, you know, because Tim likes his Volvos. So any chance I get, they mention
I'll tell you an even better story than that. The reason the 143 was there because one of the brand new Volvos broke down on the way, and we had to resurrect her. So there you go, you got your 10 piece.
I'm happy now. No.
But to be fair, it worked grand, you know. And then at that point, when we got it up to there, we had all decided, we all knew that the wheelhouse had to come off because the bridge heights was causing us this issue to get the heights down. So they'd done that, and then we reapplied for the permits, and for many reasons we couldn't get a permit, so we ended up having to cut it into 3, which in hindsight now we should have done months ago and got it moved for them months ago. But we were adamant, and we had surveyors doing bridge reports. There's so much work went into getting that barge moved.
Essentially, is all this planning to get permission?
To get permission is the majority of it. First of all, we need to come up with a transport concept solution that's going to physically get to where we want to go. So we're looking at the route, saying, okay, you know, how are we going to get into here? How are we going to get down the Lockshore Road, where we actually the Crea Road and all of that? So we did all of that, and originally we were coming down with the same type of trailer with the axle lines, whatever it was, 2 sets of bogies. We were actually running with 2 turntables. So we were running a 6 and an 8. So the bogies were completely independent with the barge, the main body of the barge making up the trailer, let's say. That would be a rigid point. And the idea was that we would come down past the Elk into Toom, go past the road, we would unhook, and then the rear truck would turn around and we would take the trailer in backwards. Now in reality, as we know, because we purchased the self-propelled trailer, the Addrive, that we didn't have to do that. I mean, we got their eye hooked out and then the trailer went in itself.
You say that just like it was a wee trailer. You picked up the phone and says,
ordered
here,
one, yeah.
We'll have one of them. This Addrive, is this the correct language?
Addrive is what it's basically additional drive, Addrive.
And the fact that it's a Goldhofer tells you that it's pretty neat to start with. Like, they're up there, like the creme de la creme.
Oh, there's no question when it comes to that. You know, we have run many different manufacturers here. We genuinely believe that we pick the best manufacturer for each concept, should it be trucks or trailers. When it comes to heavy axles, self-propelled, vessel bridges, low loaders, windmill clamps, I think Goldhofer is the top of the tree.
So you had her there, and you had other makes running that day as well. Yeah. But this Goldhofer, let me ask you a couple of questions about this. It was just unbelievable. So the first thing we seen in the morning when we arrived was you just says, you know what, I'm not great at reversing, I'm driving this myself, I'll just disappear and go to somewhere handy here, and let the guy walk. He literally walked the trailer out and hooked it onto your lorry.
He did. Well, you weren't wrong about me reversing. But
so this is the first thing that this is 5 o'clock in the morning material.
Yeah.
And this trailer's driving itself. Now obviously I knew that's what was happening because I could see the engine in the back of the trailer. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about this trailer.
Basically what this trailer is, it's a modular trailer on SL axles, which basically means there's different types of axles. These axle lines are 3 meters wide, okay, compared to 2.5, so you've got a good stability platform to work on. Mm-hmm. Hydraulically steered, hydraulically suspended. Basically how I would explain it, it's a mechano set for men. So we can build this trailer to be side by side, we can go longer, shorter, we can put vessel bridges in it, we can do whatever. So this trailer can be added to and taken away from to suit the particular task.
So let me simplify this again with more attitude taken down. So what you basically mean is axles and spacer decks, and our say for instance we had a vessel bridge with like a large boiler on it. You could actually put that in the middle of it and have a drop down deck in it as well. One observation I made, and this is only me now, who would think she could put anything onto a 3-axle loader, but no.
We used to all think that.
Right. So what that trailer wasn't needed for what it was carrying, but because it was brand new, this was your trial run of this Pride of the Fleet trailer.
This was, we did have other axle lines already in the fleet. We have 78 of the next size down, the ET, which is the 275Y, which we had originally designed or thought of this trailer on, but because we had this, and because of the manoeuvre we had to do, this basically lends itself
unbelievable
to do that. So it's the first time that I know it's been used in the north of Ireland. I'm sure it's been used maybe somewhere I'm not aware of, but the big thing between this and what people get sometimes confused about, there is a thing called SPMT, which is self-propelled modular trailer. Okay, so SPMT, and you have Addrive. An SPMT, which you would see in big oil refineries, you would see your Harland and Wolff, you would see that Dong with the offshore, can't be used on public road because there's no brakes on them. There's no service brakes on the driven axles. So you've got a hydraulic motor, and then a bit like a digger, when you let your thing over, it stops. This thing here has got service brakes as well, so that's why this can be used on public road. So that's the difference between an Addrive and an SPMT.
And what's the main reason you bought it? Because it aimed to move barges.
No, we had bought it. We had bought it originally for what we call an FTV at 50, which is the blade lifter that we bought it at the same time. So obviously we're a big sort of industry that we build up around for the wind turbine side. Blades are getting longer, sites are getting more difficult, and we feel this is the next step forward in the evolution of moving turbines. So we've went down the line and ordered this thing. We have it back now since January. But the good thing about it is, because it's Goldhofer and because it's modular, we can then do a barge, or we can move a transformer, or we can move whatever you need, a concrete beam or whatever the case may be. So we're looking at the minute about moving heavy concrete sections with it. And we're hoping, we haven't got the project, but we're chasing that at the moment. We're also working with like of Harlan and Wolff for moving steel structures and pricing that. So we're not just thinking of wind turbines. I remember we were doing the training in the factory, and obviously like you're very interested in trucks and trailers and that. And I know you're a Scania man, so I'll give you a Scania number. So a 770, which we have 3 of them out there, 770s are around about 3,750 newton meters torque. Volvo with 750 is about 355, something like that. Around the same. Okay. This thing with the 3 axle down has got 38,000 newton meters.
10.
10. It's like having 10 770 Scanias pump.
Does that eliminate the need when you're out in, like, Norway's an example of where I've seen you guys doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
Push-pulls, not...
That eliminates that. You don't have to have a push-pull. But basically, she pushes and no one pulls. Yeah.
You couldn't do this without those guys. Those guys were your lifeline.
Absolutely. But to be fair, it's probably one of the small bits of haulage that is so reliant as a team. You know, drivers, by their own admission, are loners, and most of the time they get in their cab, get their music on, and they're heading for Dover, they're heading for Cork, or they're heading for wherever. But in this game, you know, it is genuinely a team effort. And
I mean that because, like, you know, from the morning, from the get-go, your guys were at every corner. There's lads there working for you that day, and I would love to have seen their step count.
Aye, there should be quite a lot. Quite a lot.
Like, you know, and even up in the cab with you, your fella was in and out a lot, just making sure. Now I know it was a big deal. This was a big deal, and I understand. I was impressed now with the way everybody came together, right to traffic management.
Yeah, everybody, HBS and, you know, Emerson's guys themselves, right down to the crane company when we get in there quickly, steady. Done a great job. So it was great to see everybody working and pulling together to get to that point. It was just the pain that we all had to endure to get it there.
Is that normal?
No.
I understand. No, that's not normal.
No, it's not normal.
But there's pain with every move.
There's but to be fair, it's not 2 years. I mean, usually you're talking 3 months, 6 months at a push, and I'm talking about now from you've got the order to transporting. 6 months would be probably the normal. To have the piece of kit sitting in Derry, to go to Toom, to have that lead time's unheard of. Like, and I don't think I've ever heard of anybody waiting that long. And
there was pressure on. All of that wait time leads to extra money. Money costing to boats sitting about. And
exactly, and we, you know, all of us were feeling that, and with Colin and Kenny and Kenneth and the boys, you know, we did feel that, you know, we genuinely did as much as we could to get it to happen for them, because all they wanted was to get their vessel to the lock shore. Like. So
you drove the big white Volvo with a crane. My goodness, crane.
It's a proper thing, isn't it?
It's proper. What can that lift?
It's me? No, I'm not sure of that. It does 100 ton. That's 100 ton metre crane, though.
So it'll lift 100 ton metres, so that means 100 ton
for a metre from its side. So basically, between the two riggers, you'd probably lift 50 ton, 60 ton.
And that's needed for setting blades and things on.
That's for turning blades. That's why that truck's been used for that. So when we needed turns, she can hold the tip end. She can't do the root end, it's not heavy enough, but she can do the tip end to turn. So we're using that truck as the pulling prime mover, but then it has the advantage of being the crane as well.
So you drove that yourself, and I couldn't help but notice there was a lovely Norwegian flag on the side of it.
Yeah.
What notion did you take, or how do you end up?
Norway?
Aye.
Basically, we did a lot of work for a particular company in UK and Ireland. They were having difficulties in a Norwegian job in 2019. We had a gap because there wasn't much happening here, and they said, would we go out and look at it? So I flew out, looked at the site, said, yeah, we could do that. So there was a lack of equipment out there, so we shipped out 3 super wing carriers, 3 trucks and a clamp. Went out. We did about 18 months work out there and worked really, really well. And then on top of that, then we won another 4 contracts in Norway and 1 in Sweden. So then that sort of built momentum, and we ended up at one stage we had like nearly 20 trucks out there. Now I have to say that they're all back now. It's finished now, and the growth market for us will be UK, Ireland for the next 18 months, 2 years. But you know,
you'll go anywhere.
We'll go anywhere, yeah. Look, we have a Norwegian, Swedish, Irish, and UK licenses and trucks registered in all 4. So, you know, we'll go where the work is, yeah.
Day to day, you have trucks obviously everywhere, and not every truck is set up for doing this heavy.
No.
You've obviously...
No.
What are you running? Give me a rule of thumb.
We run with about 16 Volvos, ranging from 6x2 tag 80 tonners to 8x4s, 180 to 250, depending on which one they are.
So an 80 tonner's kind of your waste truck.
Our waste
kind
one's
of
80
thing.
ton, yeah.
Is that like a hub reduction?
Tag lift. Well, the new Volvos and the new Scanias now can give you 80 ton without hub reduction. Volvos are again mix of 6x4s. Our main bread and butter would be a 6x4 an hour, plated for 120 ton. That would be the we have like 9 of them or something like that.
So then 80 ton, is that like Stego? What weight is it? Special types? And
STGO2.
That's 80 ton.
Up to 80 ton, yeah. And then 3s, 80 ton to 150.
So you, right, okay. So you 80 tons kind of your waste. Just saying, 80 tons kind of your waste, Laurie.
Yeah, that's the waste one.
Pretty much.
No, that is, we don't have anything smaller than it.
I suppose it'd be pointless.
It'd be pointless. It used to be we had 65 tonners, and before that we had 44 tonners. But now machines, what we do, because obviously the Terax machines, the majority of them were like between 21 and 24 ton. You were getting away just in CNU, but now they're 28, 31, 34. So although they're 80 tonners, you probably run around about 60 ton most of the time.
Aye, and these trailers aren't getting any lighter.
No, and they have to be heavy to take the abuse. You know, we've tried buying lighter, it doesn't work.
So Volvo's your mainstay.
Yeah.
You said you reckon you've 16 of them.
About that, yeah. And then the next will be Scanias.
Yeah.
And then Mercedes, and then DAF.
So you have the 4 brands there.
Yeah, we have the 4 brands.
No, it was a big Merc led the barge up out of up until
yeah,
the
I was
Oldham
driving.
yard.
I was driving that day. I was a SLT 4163 250 tonner.
She 250. She looked a nice bit of kit now.
Tidy truck. Listen, as trucks go, the Mercedes is as good as anything out there. They just can't back it up. Their service is shocking.
Okay.
Shocking.
So it's back. This is the old argument. Guys can make product around the world, but you're still going where you feel you're getting served.
Well, it's not even feeling it. It's the fact that like, we just had a Mercedes come back on the road after being off the road for 3 months waiting on a part.
Right. Okay.
So that's the end of this discussion. Like
end of this. But a lovely truck.
fantastic, fantastic truck. And I tell you what, that turbo retarder clutch is the biggest step forward I've seen in my time in heavy haulage. That's a big statement because I've been there a long time.
So,
but they can't service it.
80 ton to 250, is that pretty much it? I'm dumbing this right down.
80 ton to 250. Yeah, that's it.
That's the maximum you technically you're meant to.
Oh no, we can take more, but that's just what the trucks are. So then you add up trucks. So our carrying capacity is 700 ton. We can take 700 ton.
But you'll have 3 trucks doing that.
We'll have 3 trucks doing that.
So you're still an active driver.
Unfortunately, when it comes to the big stuff, yeah.
Is that because of your experience or because of you just...
I like to think it's my experience, but you need to ask the boys.
No, but is it experience or do you just... I'm not being funny, do you still have a hunger for doing it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I really enjoy doing the big projects. I really enjoy doing things that people say can't be done. It seems to tick a box for me.
So Martrain, obviously, as a business, it's a long time in the road. You've a few special anniversary lorries. I've seen them floating through like your Facebook channels and stuff. Yeah. How long's the business on the go?
1979 we started, so that's at 44
I was
years.
I was -2.
You -2. I was +9.
I was -2.
So it is. But yeah, long time. Father started a business. Owner driver, doing local cross border, not channel cross border. My mother was done the books at home on a typewriter.
Yeah, but hey, cross border was a big thing back then.
That was the huge. And Beacons, going to Beacons to get your customs paperwork done. I remember going in there, and I started driving. That was still there. It was '93. I started driving. So I walked away for Savills. Was a salesman for diggers, funny enough. And then I come home, and my first truck was an FL6 rigid.
So you worked as a salesman. Your father was flat out. So how do we go from your father working hard, like cross border, night and day driving?
Night and day.
I'm assuming ordinary freight.
Oh no, just all Loader. It'll be 3 axle. It's one of your special trailers.
I'm telling you.
He's done everything. It's one trailer fits all. It was a bit like that one sheet does plenty, you know. One trailer does plenty.
How did it go from that, obviously, to what it is today? And I mean, I think the moving of the barge sums up what it is today.
I came home in '92. In '93, we ordered and received our first new double drive, which was a Volvo, and F12. Just in the change between the F12 and the F8, he was the last of the F12s.
You she went for a bargain.
And it was funny because my dad had a 142, an Axel Miller CDZ 5140, and the idea was he was getting the new Volvo and I was getting the Scania, and I said, that's dead on, it'll work for me. And we went up to get it, and he took cold feet, and Dennis says, no, you drive that one by. So I ended up at 23.
With this big Volvo.
This brand new Volvo and long hair and all. I thought that's some good stuff.
But tell me this, was that the ignition?
I think so. I mean, I
your brand new truck.
Were
you hungry for work?
Okay, but me and my dad, to be fair then, and obviously we can't go back now, and tachographs was different and driver's brakes is different, but...
So from 94 to now, which is what, 30 odd years roughly, give or take one. You've just went from 2 trucks to, I don't know, in total, doesn't matter, but how did you fit that growth? How did you...
1995, we bought our first Renault.
Oh, okay.
A double drive Renault HAZ 2424 385. We called it a bin liner, it was turbo liner was his thing. And my dad took it, and you couldn't have stopped it in a week. So, and you talk about the bad brakes on a car, alright. My God, he was shocking. But did a good job, got us going, and then we just started chipping away, and then we bought a company in Scotland in 2000, and then we wrapped that up and kept some of the staff. In fact, Anne, our accounts manager, came from Scotland back and still works for us. So we just built it on. We've had a few, the wind turbine thing started in 1986 when we actually started the first wind turbine job. And then we built on that, and we've invested. The first big clamp we bought was 2004.
Aye, so like that's even at this stage almost 20 years.
The first clamp set was 2004, and it was $500,000 in 2004.
So renewables has been good to Martrain? Has
been good to us, yeah, has been. Unfortunately, I think maybe the best days of it is over, if I'm honest. But it's been good to this point, yeah. We would find that majority of our businesses, you said earlier on before we started the cameras, everybody's got a low loader, and that is very much the case. But we found that 25 years ago, the bigger builders decided, we'll buy our own low loader, or maybe the son wanted one, or they wanted flashing lights or whatever.
That's me.
That's me, you know what I mean? But that's fair enough, but when they actually analyse it as a business, it doesn't work. It's a thing that they want, that's grand, but commercially, it doesn't work. And especially now with the legislation, the requirements behind the scenes with permits, health and safety, maintenance, everything else, and else you're in it right, you can't play it anymore. You're either doing it right or get out.
Tim, thank you very much for sitting down, having a chat with us. Personally, I had one of my best days in the job for a long time. There's only one thing would have made that better. Johnny giving me that remote control.
That's
just, and like that trailer is just mega, and I hope, as boy says, I hope I live to see it doing what it's meant to do with these windmill turbines, and someday we'll maybe well. But
we'll all being well, if it all goes to plan, we'll be. There's a few jobs around the central belt in Scotland. So if we're doing it, we'll give you a shout.
Love to follow that at some point. But anyway, thanks very much, Tim.
No bother.
Take care.
Good luck.